Yo, haha, Magnificent. What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Magnificent coming back with another tech update. And today we're just going to basically talk about the iOS, at least the iPadOS 13.1. If you haven't already, if you have an iPad 6th generation or higher, I believe maybe the 5th generation, you should be able to update to the iPadOS 13.1 update. Now there were some subtle changes that people weren't accustomed to, and I just want to basically just clarify what you can and cannot do now based off this new OS. So let's get into it. So if you go to the first thing I want people to look at, when you want to, you can see my mouse right here. If you want to activate this mouse right here, the first thing you need to do is basically just go to accessibility and then scroll down to where it says physical and motor, and then select touched. You want to have assistive touch turned on. Once that's turned on, you can click on that. And this is where you're going to be able to add your mouse. And we're going to go to devices. And this is where you're going to pair your mouse device. Now, there's certain things you can do when you're here, like the pointer style, right? So we can make it as big as this, or we can make it as small as this. I'm not blind, so I feel like this is a little bit appropriate for me. You can also change the color to blue, green, yellow, orange, doesn't matter. For me, I'll just leave it at red. And also, one of the things that people didn't like was the fact that when they updated, the icons became huge. But you can make it bigger by returning it to the normal style in the previous OS update by simply going down to display and brightness, go down to home screen and just change it from this to this. It'll make your icon bigger, right? Just like we had in the previous version. Another change that people may or may not know, as I'm going to my page, is that the desktop version of Safari just means that every single web page you go to is going to have the desktop version, but there is a way to maneuver away from that, because if you go down to, let's see if I can find it, Safari, you see where it scrolls all the way down to, let me see if I can find this right here, under settings for websites. And this is where it is, the request desktop website. If you uncheck this, this will basically just state that, it'll return it to this normal state in the previous version, where you would go to a Facebook and it would go to the mobile site versus going to the actual desktop website that you would normally see. So instead of seeing m.facebook.com for mobile, you then see www, which is what we previously saw. But unchecking this returns it back to the state. So you do have that option to do that. I did, I was actually able to confirm that when you're doing the, the SD drive or your micro SD card, you just pull this up. The micro SD card in itself, you'll be able to find under files, which is right here. So you should see an icon. It's called files, but it has like this blue folder. What happens is once you install a lightning adapter that's able to take a micro SD card, you can put that in there and then see your files that you have on a micro SD card. Now, one of the things that I did notice with the previous version with iOS is the fact that you cannot, you can't import, and you can import, but you can't export. That was one of the things that I kind of didn't like with iOS, but I knew, again, with this iOS 13 update, that they were going to make some changes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug my lightning adapter into the iPad, and then I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to put my micro SD card in, and you should be able to see the files that's on there. Now you can copy, you can make a split screen, so if you want to copy from one application to another, let's just go in here, and you'll see it pop up this way. Now it depends on the device that you use. I have a SanDisk, and it actually shows up SanDisk right here versus Untitled. But if I click here, now I can see all my files that I have on here, which I think is pretty cool. But the best thing is the fact that I can take my files Once I hold down the mouse, or you can hold down the screen, I can copy it, duplicate it, move it to another form of application. Let's just say Google Drive. It may take some time, but it's cool. Now, the only drawback to this is that you can only do one micro SD or one external drive at a time. I have the Lightning adapter where I can do the actual SD card, and not the micro SD, but it takes the SD and the micro SD, and I had it plugged up at the same time with the adapter, and it only read the first one that was plugged in. So it's not like it can read two at the same time, so you can copy from one external to another external. That's the only thing that I noticed. Outside of that, I do like the update. Again, it gives you flexibility. It turns your mouse. It gives you that mouse functionality that a lot of people were looking for, because now technically you can look at this iPad as a mini computer. I have a Bluetooth computer. I have a Bluetooth keyboard with a Bluetooth monitor, and quite honestly, it's the sky's the limit right here. But I do like the interface. I like what they're doing. They're opening sources up. And another thing you can look at, and I'm not sure many people may or may not know, is the privacy. When you're looking at the analytics down here, you'll notice that it's sharing exactly who they're basically sending information to. So I like that Apple is grasping that idea of opening up more to their fans, the fan base, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people were asking for all this, and they were just waiting, just waiting, and just waiting. But now it's been released. So now all of a sudden, the iPad, whether you get the sixth generation or the seventh generation, it becomes more appealing, especially with these features opened up. And I think that if people just realize what they have now, it was, especially with iOS 13 just being released, it's going to be a great thing. So your boy Magnificent, I hope that was useful. There's some more tech stuff that I'm doing right now, because right now I'm experimenting with it. I just want to see what certain things that they're doing with the update that may have changed from the previous to now. So your boy Magnificent, I hope you have a blessed day, and I'm out.